The Animal Parade. In a small town called Green Valley, people loved animals. They had dogs, cats, birds, and even some farm animals. Every year, they held a special event called the Animal Parade. It was the most exciting day of the year for the children, adults, and, of course, the animals. Planning the parade. One sunny morning, Mr. Brown, the town's mayor, called a meeting at the town hall. He wanted to talk about this year's parade. We need to make this the best animal parade ever, he said with a big smile. Everyone cheered. They all loved the idea. People from all over the town came to the meeting. Ms. Rose, the schoolteacher, brought her pet rabbit, Snowball. Farmer Joe brought his big cow, Daisy. Even little Emma brought her tiny hamster, Muffin. How can we make the parade fun for everyone? Mr. Brown asked. Ms. Rose raised her hand. What if we let the animals dress up? She suggested. We can make costumes for them. Everyone liked the idea. The children were especially excited. Making costumes. The next day, the whole town got busy. People began making costumes for their animals. Some people made funny hats, others made colorful capes. Farmer Joe's cow, Daisy, was going to be a queen. They made a gold crown for her and a shiny red cape. Emma's hamster, Muffin, was going to be a tiny superhero. Emma's mom helped her make a little cape and a mask. Emma was so happy. Muffin is going to look amazing, she said. At Miss Rose's house, her rabbit Snowball was trying on a magician's hat. Miss Rose made a tiny wand for him to hold. You look like a real magician, Snowball. Miss Rose laughed. Snowball wiggled his nose. He seemed to like his costume. Practice makes perfect. The parade was only a week away, so they needed to practice. The town decided to meet every evening in the park to practice walking in the parade. At first, it was not easy. Some animals didn't want to wear their costumes. Farmer Joe's cow, Daisy, kept shaking her head, and the crown kept falling off. Emma's hamster, Muffin, was too excited. He kept running around and wouldn't stay still. How will we ever get this right? Emma asked, feeling a little worried. Ms. Rose patted her shoulder. Don't worry, Emma. It just takes time. We'll all practice together. Every evening, the people and animals gathered in the park. They walked around in a line, just like they would on the day of the parade. Mr. Brown walked with his dog, Max. Max was dressed as a pirate with a small black hat and a toy sword. The children laughed every time they saw Max bark and wag his tail. Getting closer to the big day. As the days passed, the animals got better at wearing their costumes. They started to enjoy the practice. Farmer Joe's cow, Daisy, began to wear her crown proudly. She walked slowly and gracefully, like a real queen. Snowball, the rabbit, loved his magician's hat so much that he even wore it at home. The people in town also worked on making the parade more colorful. They made banners and balloons. They painted signs that said, Welcome to the animal parade, and we love animals. The children drew pictures of their pets and hung them on the trees in the park. One day, Mr. Brown had a great idea. What if we have music in the parade? He asked. Ms. Rose clapped her hands. Yes, music will make it more fun. So, they asked the town band to play during the parade. The band agreed and began practicing happy tunes that would make everyone want to dance. A problem to solve. Everything seemed perfect. But then, 2 days before the parade, a problem happened. It started to rain. It rained all day and all night. The park became muddy, and the decorations got wet. Everyone in town was worried. What if it rains on the day of the parade? Emma asked sadly. Mr. Brown looked at the cloudy sky. We need to think of a plan. He said, we can't let the rain ruin our parade. The animal parade. The rain continued to pour, and the people of Green Valley felt worried. The park was soaked, and the decorations were ruined. Little Emma sat by her window, watching the raindrops tap against the glass. I was so excited for the parade, she sighed, holding Muffin the hamster close to her. Finding a solution, Mr. Brown knew they needed to do something. He called for another town meeting at the town hall. Despite the rain, people came with umbrellas and raincoats. The animals stayed at home to keep dry. We can't let the rain stop us, Mr. Brown said, his voice determined. We have worked too hard for this parade. Ms. Rose stood up. Why don't we move the parade indoors? She suggested. We can use the community center. The community center was a large building in the middle of the town, big enough for all the people and animals. Everyone thought this was a great idea, but Farmer Joe looked worried. What about Daisy? He asked. She's a big cow. I don't know if she will fit inside the community center. Everyone went quiet, thinking hard. Just then, a little boy named Timmy raised his hand. What if we build a tent outside the community center? He said. That way, the big animals can stay outside but still be part of the parade. Mr. Brown clapped his hands. That's a wonderful idea, Timmy, he exclaimed. Let's build a tent outside for the bigger animals like Daisy. The smaller animals can parade inside the community center. Everyone cheered, feeling hopeful again. Getting ready again. The next morning, the rain finally stopped. The sun peeked out from behind the clouds, and everyone felt a bit happier. The town got to work quickly. The men and women brought large poles and colorful fabric to build the tent. It took the whole day, but by evening they had set up a big, bright tent outside the community center. Meanwhile, inside the community center, people hung up new decorations. They set up chairs along the sides for the audience. The town band practiced their music in the corner, playing cheerful tunes that filled the room with excitement. The children were busy helping their pets get ready. Emma brushed Muffin's fur and fixed his tiny superhero cape. Muffin seemed excited again, running around happily in his cage. Ms. Rose adjusted Snowball's magician hat and practiced some tricks with him. Snowball hopped around, looking like a real magician. Farmer Joe brought Daisy to the tent. "I think she likes it here," he said, smiling as Daisy settled into her spot. They decorated the tent with flowers and streamers to make it look festive. The big day. Finally, the day of the animal parade arrived. The community center was buzzing with excitement. People from nearby towns came to watch. The audience filled the seats inside, and others gathered around the tent outside. The air was filled with laughter, chatter, and the happy sounds of animals. Mr. Brown stood at the front with a microphone. "Welcome, everyone, to the Green Valley Animal Parade," he announced. The crowd cheered and clapped. The band started to play, filling the air with joyful music. The parade began with the smaller animals inside the community center. First came Mr. Brown's dog, Max, in his pirate costume. He walked proudly with a little swagger, wagging his tail. The children giggled and clapped as Max barked happily. Next was Ms. Rose with Snowball the rabbit. Snowball was the star magician of the parade. Ms. Rose had taught him a trick where he could make a small carrot appear from under his hat. Snowball hopped forward, and when Ms. Rose lifted his hat, there was the carrot. The crowd gasped and then laughed and cheered. Snowball wiggled his nose in delight. Then came Emma and Muffin. Muffin was now calm and ready. Emma carefully placed Muffin on a little platform so everyone could see him. He stood there in his superhero cape, looking around curiously. "Go, Muffin!" Emma cheered, and the audience clapped. Muffin seemed to understand that this was his special moment, and he stayed still, posing like a tiny hero. The outdoor parade. After the indoor parade, it was time for the bigger animals outside. The crowd moved to the tent area, where Farmer Joe and Daisy were waiting. Daisy looked grand with her shiny red cape and gold crown. As she walked through the tent, everyone admired how majestic she looked. Farmer Joe had taught her a simple trick, to bow her head. When she did, the crown sparkled in the sunlight, and the crowd clapped with joy. Next came some of the other animals from the town. There was a goat dressed as a knight, a horse with a rainbow mane, and even some chickens wearing tiny bow ties. They paraded through the tent, each one bringing laughter and smiles to the people watching. A surprise ending. Just when everyone thought the parade was over, Mr. Brown had one last surprise. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "we have a special guest." The children looked around, wondering who it could be. Suddenly, they heard a loud trumpet sound. From behind the community center, a small elephant named Ella appeared. She was visiting from a nearby town. Mr. Brown had arranged for her to join the parade as a surprise. Ella was wearing a bright, sparkling blanket and a big flower crown on her head. She lifted her trunk and trumpeted loudly, making everyone laugh and cheer. Ella walked gracefully through the tent, showing off her costume. She even did a small trick, lifting one leg and then the other, as if she was dancing. The children were thrilled, and the adults were amazed. The perfect ending. The parade ended with everyone cheering and clapping. The animals had done a wonderful job, and the people of Green Valley had made the parade a success, even with the rain. Mr. Brown thanked everyone for their hard work and announced that they would celebrate with a big picnic in the park the next day. As the sun set, the people and animals of Green Valley went home, tired but happy. The parade had been full of joy, laughter, and fun. The animals had shown how special they were, and the people had worked together to make it happen. Emma hugged Muffin and whispered, "You were the best superhero today." Muffin nibbled on a tiny treat, looking very proud of himself. Farmer Joe patted Daisy's back, and she mooed softly, as if to say, "I enjoyed being a queen." And so, the animal parade of Green Valley became the talk of the town. People would remember it for years to come as the day when animals and people came together, rain or shine, to create something magical.